I am with Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, Rajkumar Ranjan Singh, who is also a Member of Parliament from Manipur's Inner Imphal constituency. Manipur has been witnessing ethnic clashes between two communities. Violence broke out on May 3rd following a tribal solidarity march, and though the violence was controlled after 3-4 days, the situation in the state is yet to return to normalcy. There have been sporadic reports of violence now and then. Mr. Singh's house in East Imphal district was attacked by a mob on May 25th when Mr. Singh was there inside the house with his family. We will discuss the Manipur issue with Mr. Singh. Welcome to the print, sir. So the first question that I wanted to ask you was, you returned to Delhi yesterday from Manipur. So what is the ground situation now in the state?
Almost the violence activities in the daytime was controlled by the extra enforcement from the central paramilitary and the rapid action force, along with the state forces. But however, in the night time, in the midst of the total curfew that was happening in my house, I do not know what is the reason. I am inside the compact area of Meitei. I am a Meitei. Not in the border area, bordering with the Kuki also, no. But I do not know how this, the crowd is created so suddenly by 8:30 p.m. The daytime was full of curfew, no one is allowed to move, and whole 24 hours is a curfew. But how this come up? And that is the questionable. And who mobilize it? And what are the political, the mileage are there or not? I do not know. But sometimes I feel that it's a organized the crime. I feel like that. Politically motivated organized crime. But for what purpose, still I could not find out. Basically, I'm not started my career as a politician. Rather, I was always absent from politics. But of course, after my retirement, the senior leader of the BJP convinced me to come out to the party and let us serve the country, and also from this platform, what you feel in before your politics, joining. So, because I started as a social activities and plus the environmental activities, and also involved in the bringing all the communities of the Manipur harmonically. There is an organization founded by 1966 and 67, and that was chaired by the first Chief Minister of Manipur, and his name is, we popularly call it, Maharaj Kumar Priyavrata. So under him, many decades we are working and we're traveling all throughout the entire remotest part of the Manipur, hills and valleys. There was some kind of rifts between the hills and plain, and that was planted during the British. When the British is controlling Manipur, the Maharaja of Manipur is allowed to administer only the valley area, and whereas the hill area is under the domain of the Darbar, and Darbar president was chaired by the British. So in between, earlier before that, we have what you call communalities there. We are sharing annual festival. So hills and plain is a brother, and the younger brother and elder brother, like that we are settled.
You have also worked with the unity of the different community, different tribes in the state. But then what do you think, as in the attack in your house? You are a Meitei, you live in East Imphal district, which is Imphal has a Meitei majority, and the newspaper reports say that the mob comprised of Meiteis. So do you think this is a reflection of the resentment of the common man, the resentment of the people against the elected representative for inaction, for not doing much, because the violence has started some 22 days ago. The curfew, though it was relaxed, is still in place. Internet lockdown is in place. So there's a lot of hardship that people, the common man, is facing. So is it a resentment?
Yeah, it will be one of the major factors. The common people in the valley, the peoples are same, not the Kuki or Meitei. They feel quite a long the active response from the responsible the government is waiting for a kind of long time, and that suffocation is there. So they might have feel, and in the meantime, see some of the different party of the politics, they also might have instigate, and these are the reason. So before, just at on the day of the eruption of that violence,
May 3rd.
Yeah, no, I mean the 3rd May. So I myself, the social media through radio and Doordarshan, I appeal to calm down and settle it properly. Then ultimately, I'm in the Council of Ministers, so I have to move to Delhi, and then I have to go abroad also for some assignment. So in the meantime, the people say that government is not responding in what the people expected. Same thing, Delhi government is also not responding. That is the conception of the common people. But actually, Delhi government is already sending the reinforcing the security personnel. But in the past, in some of the incident or the combating the insurgency element, whatever central paramilitary force sent to Manipur, there was a committee that we call it Unified Command, and that was here by the head of the states. And perhaps the same system is also still promulgated. There was some kind of the fumbling or what to do, that kind of systematic arrangement was not there. There may be some lapses of time. Though the army personnel, paramilitary personnel arrived in Imphal, sent by the central government, was not properly deployed. That was the people's feel. And that's why they make the slogan, "Go back Indian Army," like that. No. But in my opinion, whatever central government sent from the Home Ministry, the paramilitary and the Rapid Action Force was under the command of the Unified. And the leader of that Unified Command should deplore, but that kind of thing is a bit delayed. And that may be one of the reasons. And that's why the mass is mass. If someone says that he is also the central minister, so he is here in Imphal, so his house to be attacked. But here I found some quite astonished that, and how they decide. Earlier they attacked to Mr. Govinda's house, and they decided to the night will be my house, and how the thousands of people how gather it. And so in this case I have some doubt. That's why I put the question to the intelligence, who are behind that. And of course, I request the security advisor, Mr. Kuldeep, and I have some doubt and some sound and the ringing of the Manipuri is always doing like that. Electric pole was ringing as call out. Then I thought that they know that I am here today, so there may be some attack in my house. And prior to that, I do not know. But of course, in the letter, I come to know that all the IB and the intelligence, they know it. So I report to the Kuldeep to send the reinforcement in my house. Otherwise, it will be trouble. Then, first base of the agitators came, and they tried to making slogans and shouting. Then the security personnel said that, "Sir, you want to talk some of the representative or not?" Then I said, "Please find out. Only 5%, then I will discuss in my home." Then ultimately 5% came, and then they are asking
from the mob.
from the first base of crowd.
Okay.
There are 3-4 crowds are coming in from different
batches.
From different direction.
Okay.
And then first base, of course, some 5% entered to my room, and we sit together, and I said that, what are the things you want from me? They said that you have to apologize. And for what? You are in the site of the Kuki. And who said? In the local paper. Then local paper, I also found it. I submit a memorandum to the Prime Minister, and same copy to Amit Shahji, and same copy to JP Nandaji. There I wrote non-bias voting communities, and then there I wrote the 10 MLAs from Kuki community. They signed collectively to have a separate the administration. There I wrote like this: there might be multiple pressure, including militant, so they might have signed it, and that was my the version. But the paper says what happened? They were forced by the Kuki militants, said by R.K. Ranjan. On the other hand, they are annoyed to that 10 Kuki MLAs for demanding the separate administrative zone. So the mass thought that, the group thought that this is, I supported them. Then I explained them, I saw the letter copy to them. Then where is the question of apologizing to them? And then I said that my version is non-biased, and also ethically I am saying. Then they said that then you have to resign, because they want to fire up the argument so that mob can be started. Then I said, before I answering the one police, the SP, he said that, okay, if SAR is resigned, all the MLA is resigned, then PR rule will come, then the majority of the valley people will be suffer, and until the MLAs, ministers and MPs are exist, as like that of the 10 MLAs are exist in the Kuki. So you can express to them, they can plead your demand to the authority, and this will be your mouthpiece. Then they remain silent again. Then ultimately they said that you give a return statement. If these are all fail, then I will resign. Then I said I cannot give like that, but at the most, if I supposed to give, I will say that I will try to meet the Honorable Prime Minister, and then Home Minister, to convince what you have asked me about the present movement. So I will do it, and then accordingly necessary step or action will be taken up.
So following the violence, 10 Kuki MLAs, which includes 8 Kuki MLAs from BJP and 2 from Kuki People's Alliance, which is an ally of the BJP, they have demanded, in fact they came out with a statement, and then they wrote to, they submitted a memorandum to Union Home Minister demanding a separate territorial administration for Kukis. So do you think, within the boundaries of the state, do you think that a separate territorial administration is an answer to resolve the crisis that's happening on the ground right now?
It will not be resolved any issue by separate administrative within the territorial. It will not serve the purpose. Perhaps if you see the geographical boundary of the Manipur, and even for Nagaland or even for Mizoram, this is nature has given a unique system, and valley geographically we cannot treat the Manipur Valley as a valley. It's an intermountain valley. In between the hill height of the hills, a river valley was formed, and this is not a valley. So if you see the total geographical area, hardly 8% we are treated as a valley. The more than 92% is a hill. And also see that the 8% of the valley is concentrated with a population of more than 60, whereas in the hill, 90% of the geographical area is concentrated hardly 40%. So sometimes they argue like that, power sharing. Let us also discuss power sharing, how the Constitution of India, how the Election Commission is dividing the constituency. It depends on the population. So for a few population, how can you make more the assembly constituency? Even here, UP has a number of MP. Manipur has only 2. It depends on the population number, size of the population. So in the hills, the population size is very, very, very small. So again, they say that the development fund, sharing of development fund, their argument for separate, I'm just explaining, separate the budget, development budget allocation is mere. Again, you see the Prime Minister Sorok Yojana. If the population of that village is less than 5,000, you cannot have that scheme. So they have a population in the village. Suppose one village we call it Bongmol is an example. Kuki town, Bongmol village, the old village. Then in between 2 brothers, the elder brother may say that, oh, younger brother, you should make your own village. So he will go there. He will call it Bongmol New Village. So if there is one big village with a minimum requirement of population, then school, road, health center, the drinking water facilities will be provided as per the norm of the planning or Niti Aayog. But that is not feasible. So the valley people do not form the 40 MLAs for valley. It is formed as per the electoral principles based on the population. That should be understood. So my point is that if forcefully they demand to have a separate administrative zone, then 90% of the geographical area, how many the separate administrative zone will be there? In the valley is hardly 8%. How can it be with more than 60% population? How it can be? So even in the Kuki area, this is my humble appeal, Kuki area, under the name of Kuki Sin, there are lots of minor tribes. Sub-tribes. 14 minor sub-tribes in Manipur. Major tribe has the capacity to participate in the politics, to participate in the economic activities, and they can express their aspiration. But those 14 tribes, they never been come up. So inside the Kuki Sin family, there are minor tribes, and their aspiration cannot be solved. Even if we give the separate administrator, it cannot be solved the problem. Secondly, Prime Minister Modi is targeting Northeast India, Act East policy. Our development push is very fastly push it. If you have a separate administrative zone, it will be surely a hurdle. A resource will be controlled by a community, and that cannot be shared with the national asset. And these are the factors. So economically, it will not support to our national policy. And the development process, we cannot do as per the speed and scale, we cannot do it. And that's why I think they may be because of the emotion or sentiment, and they might have been demand, but they should think it many times instead of not only the Kuki Sin family and others groups of our the communities in the hill, they should think it right from the beginning and formation of the Manipur state. We are all the same community, same people, same sharing of history, same sharing of economic effort. That has to be restored. The golden Manipur should be restored as soon as possible through peace dialogue. And if there be any speed up program in the development, then we have to approach to the government of India with a special package, even for relief. Those people who burn down their houses, that we may request if the Prime Minister Awas Yojana may consider in a separately. And I also feel that for the loss of life, we are just giving 5 lakhs. That cannot. And schools, churches and temples were burned down, that has to be renovated from the fund of the state or center with the support of the center. That kind of thing, quickly we have to be renovated, quickly we have to be revigorate again, and that will be the only solution. By demanding separate will not solve the problem. There will be another internal dynamism will come, and it will be more conflicting, and it will affect to the national state security. Over and above, particularly in the eastern front of the hill districts, we are neighboring with a foreign country, not compare with the Bodoland, and also Sikh schedule perhaps. Meghalaya is a failure, Nagaland is a failure, Mizoram is a failure, Tripura also failure. India government know its Sikh schedule is not applicable. Even the Bodoland system is a mistake. We cannot repeat it again. The best thing is that, as you have suggested, there should be a dialogue, and there may be some forgive and forgot. That should be come up, and we should build it, a better Manipur, and we should stand together and have the capacity to sign as a state.
Sir, there is also a lot of animosity between the two communities. Though, the violence erupted on May 3 following the Tribal Solidarity March, which was organized by the tribal groups to protest the plan to grant scheduled tribe status to the Meiteis. But people in the state say that, discontent has been simmering among the tribals for a long time, and the tribals say that the policies of the state government was made in a way which was targeting them. The policies of the state government was targeting them, be it the encroachment drive that was initiated by the state government to evict the tribals from the reserved and protected forests, the action against the poppy cultivators. So all these, they are saying, was targeting a particular community, specifically the Kuki community.
See, you might have been come across some of the international media. Even the UN narcotics cell, they publish it. They are saying that about 10% of the drug production from Golden Triangle shifted to Manipur, and planting about 16,000 square kilometers of area bordering the Indo-Myanmar. So deploying the cultivators are doing by the native tribal community plus Nepali. These are the things. It is already reported. So, that was the things. And earlier, Manipur was the route for the transporting trafficking the drug. But now Manipur becomes the hub for production, and that is the extreme situation. And the drug, the worldwide, and the government of India is also announced drug-free country. And we should not allow any kind of drug-related the plantation, or these are the national policy. But of course, it was done some years without our we are not sensitized. So much of land is cultivated. Of course, Viren, as a chief minister, suddenly, but of course we should have some kind of policy. That policy, how to slowly eradicate and control the plantation, and also even the forest, the evacuation of drifting of those encroachers. It should be some well-planned things should be, I expect it should be done earlier, and it should be discussed. But of course, because of the quick action achievement by the present chief minister, it was started, but not in a bad sense and not in targeted to any community. But the cultivated area belongs to that group, but none other group. And that's why it is assimilated like that, but not targeted to any community. But our target is to stop the poppy cultivation and stop the drug, the herb from the state of Manipur. That was the objective. And also in the name of that, all the drug plantation was done inside the reserve forest, protected forest. So reserve forest has full right of the government. Even we cannot take even a piece of land until and unless it was the clearance is given by the central government. So it's a restricted things. But of course, many years before our government, they are keeping loose like this. Even the migration and the filtration of those things, right from 1962, the Nevin School, and then 1998, the pro-democracy movement, a huge flows was there. And again, very recently, the upheaval of politics in Myanmar, and also they fled away from here. There are many things.
That's another reason that's being said. I mean, in the valley, people say that there has been large-scale infiltration from Myanmar, and they are mostly the tribal who have, you know, who are behind the poppy cultivation.
Yes, but of course, people might have said that what your government is doing when it is entered, and that there is some kind of our weakness. That regulation should be done much earlier before happening all these things. Anyway, this time we should not find out that things. Happen is happen, but how to calm down and bring them normalcy is our priority now.
So, my next question is, sir, where do we go from here? As what is being done? Because what has happened in the state is, post the violence, the Meiteis who were living in the hills, they were evacuated, they were brought to the relief camps, and from the relief camps they are being now brought to the valley in Imphal. The Kukis, on the other hand, who were living in the valley, they were evacuated, and now they are being sent to their homes in the hills, in the hill districts, where the Kukis are in majority. So there is this exchange of people from both the communities that is happening, and people are saying that, you know, this is a kind of, the Kukis have called it a kind of ethnic cleansing that is happening. There is a segregation of population. So what is being done to bridge this divide?
This segregation, but since I belong to the central union, I cannot classify Kuki and Meitei or other tribes. I see the whole population in the state as a state population. I look like that. And since I am a worker of the Manipur Cultural Integration Conference, we look all the ethnic community as our the same family. There are about 34, 35 ethnic communities. So not only the Kuki, there are many. So we have to look harmonically, and we have to look and live like the solidarity and respecting each other. But of course, it was happened. So that has to be controlled as soon as possible when the paramilitary force reinforcement came. But there was a bit delayed in executing to posting to the vulnerable areas. But now, of course, yesterday Sri Biren says that he has identified 34 or 35, and they started posting. This is the things. But at the beginning, of course, there was a abrupt, and it should be worked systematically after thorough threadbare discussion what action should be taken of. Say, for example, when this crisis started, we suddenly withdraw the SHU without the consent of the central government, and that is also another what you call
bone of
step.
contention.
We are stepping without the proper the system of the approaching.
What is the future of the SHU agreement, sir? Because like you said, the state government led by Chief Minister Biren Singh, in a cabinet decision in March, they said that the state would withdraw from SHU. But then SHU is a tripartite agreement between the center, state, and the Kuki militant groups. So what is the future of SHU?
Yeah, if you look back when the time the Manipur government signed the SHU agreement, they have to choose some limited camps should be there. But that was not, I do not know the then government, what they feel that in many places surrounding the valley, the Sioux camps are accepted. And that is, it seems to be a bunker. Then proper monitoring. Who are doing the proper monitoring? Is it done by the central government or by the state government? And that kind of monthly monitoring, where had gone that monitoring system? They should understand that whether the guns are there, deposited there, whether they are moving out without gun or not, whether they are signing regular attendance, because they are getting some kind of remuneration
from the center.
Yeah. So that kind of administrative, the application system was anyhow, it was not, I presume that it was not done properly. And so my point is that if the Sioux agreement is, if need to continue, then it should be proper monitoring and proper assessment and call back all those out of the camp. It should be in the camp, and the number of guns and weapons might have been registered during the signing the agreement, and that number is intact or not, or beyond that, if there are some arms and ammunition, that sources should also be found out from where these sources are coming, and that has to be found out. So my point is that since the Central Paramilitary Force and the Rapid Action Force, security, the enforcement is there, we have to properly deploy it, and all those vulnerable areas should be protected, and anyhow it should be, the violence should be controlled. That is my first thing. Then I already mentioned about the unified command. It has to be activated properly. Who is the commander of that unified command? Both the Central Paramilitary Force and the State Force has to be unified, and the action has to be taken up, and who is commanding that has to be done it properly.
What according to you now needs to be done to restore normalcy,
Yes.
to bridge the divide that has happened between the two communities?
First the fire has to be extinguished. Now fire is on, has to be controlled. After that, then relief is the second utmost important. How long huge people will be in the relief camp? The male, female, separate sleeping is not there, arrangement is not there, then toilet and washroom is not there, health facility is not there, even drinking water is not there. How can they will be there? And their children are also there. Schools are abandoned, both the communities. Losing by the violence, action and reaction, losings are both community. That have to be understood, and that has to be provided properly about the relief. It has to be. So then after that, as you have suggested, the committee should be there, all religious group, all the civil society organizations, all the political party should sit together and form a mission committee or a peace committee or goodwill committee should be there. And then we should call all the grievances should be across the table and to discuss it. Only then the misunderstanding can be understanding.
And so do you think that you have spoken about the delay on the part of the state government initially when
that was already confessed by the Chief Minister in the social media. That's why I come to know it. Otherwise, I do not know. He said that there is a lapse of the security arrangement. As he confessed, though, I'm fine with that. I have to do my duty.
But do you also think, sir, that there was a delay in responding to the crisis, though the center sent security agencies there, but in terms of dialogue between the two communities, was there a delay on the part of the center?
This is also now this is the right time. Both the sides know it. What are the damages? What will be the trauma? They know it. So it is a high time, and immediately it is the need of the hour. It should be constituted. But from my side, I already sent my appeal, some of the religious group, and also I call here some sensible the academician from the Kuki and from the Meitei. We were sitting there, and I just reflect to them, You know, Manipur has 2000 years of civilization. This civilization was the product of the effort of all of our community who are reside in Manipur since since time immemorial. So how you want to break down this civilization? I think none of them is interested to break down this. They also feel that. Then ultimately I request them, I myself and my colleague, the outer MP, Mr. Dr. Loro Jose, he belongs to the Naga People's Party, NPF, but also he is the supporter of our government, NDA partner. So both of us, again after that meeting, we issued, circulate a appeal to all the community to come down and have a dialogue on the table. So these are our initiatives. Now, from many angles, the demand for having the dialogue process and constituting a committee. So I think so it should be done as early as possible.
Thank you so much, sir, for talking to The Print.